President Trump spending hours in the Situation Room with his national security team Friday as Israel and Iran launched additional missiles at one another. It's inevitable the U.S. will feel an economic impact from this conflict.
It's causing the cost of oil to skyrocket. Analysts say that U.S. gas prices are likely to climb higher, and that could start as soon as this week.
Gas stations across America could run completely dry in just days. We're not talking about expensive fuel anymore. We're talking about no fuel at all. Right now, as you're watching this video, Iranian lawmakers are seriously considering a move that could send shockwaves through every gas station from coast to coast. They're threatening to close the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway that carries 20% of the world's oil supply. If that happens, we won't just see $5 gas, we won't just see $7 gas. We could see gas stations with bags over the pumps and no fuel signs everywhere you look. Remember the 1970s oil crisis? The long lines, the rationing, the panic buying. That's about to look like child's play compared to what's coming.
Shalom. First, I'd like to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakatash. Double honor to teachers, elders, and apostles of Great Millstone, likewise brothers put on this truth. Faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep, and two brothers and sisters tuning in. Shalom. Today's lesson is titled, The Path. Don't break. Okay? You know, we have two paths that's taking place right now. Okay? You have the people that are worldly. You know, that path leads to destruction. And you have us, okay, who have the faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, which would lead to life. Now, as you can see what's taking place now across this earth, I mean, there's so many things that's going on right now. And you saw that opening clip where it talks about, you know, this conflict that's going over there in the Middle East, you know, concerning Israel and Iran. And we already know that, you know, according to the scriptures, that the least will bring in, you know, Great Babylon America into that conflict. And you hear the rhetoric and the words that's coming from Trump, where he's making threats, you know, to the supreme leader of Iran, you know, that he knows where he's hiding, and, you know, that Tehran needs to evacuate, and, you know, there's no negotiation in reality, you know, to Iran needs to just basically surrender, you know. So these are bold words that's coming from an impatient Edomite, okay, the devil, you know, because they know they have a short time. Okay, let's go to the first scripture here. This is the book of Revelation 2 and 10, and it reads, Fear none of these things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. And this is the faith that we have to have, you know, as men of the Lord, a servant of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, you know, doing this work. We understand that there's going to be persecution that's going to be coming. Now, an interesting thing in that video, in that opening clip, you know, and that's from the channel, The Epic Economist, you know, where he talked about the fact that, you know, what took place in the 1970s with the shortages, okay, this time it's going to make that look like a joke, okay. And he's right. You know, when you look at the people in the 1970s, those were baby boomers, okay. And when you look at us, you know, some of us are Generation X, and then you have Generation Z, okay, which is these, you know, YNs, and, you know, these people that are completely and utterly undisciplined. You know, they don't have the kind of mindset that your baby boomers had, who came up in times of, you know, where there wasn't such abundance and, you know, everything at your beck and call, instant gratifications. Okay, so they were definitely a lot more stable mentally to deal with the issues and the problems. But when we look at it right now, we're going to see, okay, things is going to take on a whole new level of problem, okay, tribulation. Let's go into the book of Matthew 10 and 34, Star Wars 34, because we can see, as Yahushua has promised, he's not bringing peace. He's bringing that sword. It says, think not that I have come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. and a man's foe should be they of his own households. We know the households here, especially here in Great Babylon, America, okay, it's out of order. The men are not men, the women are not women, the children are not children, okay, even the pets, okay, everything is out of order. And because of the influence of Great Babylon, America across this earth, likewise in these other nations, the houses are out of order also too. But concerning the children of Israel, okay, so-called Black Americans and Latinos, okay, whose seed line or bloodline goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay, we are going to have that problem, okay, within our nation, because we have not followed the path of righteousness. We have followed the path of wickedness here in Great Babylon, America. And as you can see right now with all of the TikTok videos coming out with, people, falling on very hard times, we can see how this is going to lead into those internal conflicts. And people are going to be very, very, very divided. You are going to have those that are going to be determined to continue to follow the voice, okay, of Esau, okay, and then you're going to have those of us who are going to be determined to follow the voice of Yahushua. Okay, why? He said his sheep hear his voice, okay? The sheep hear his voice. So we hear the voice of the Mashiach, who has made a promise that he is going to be that intercessor between us and the Father, okay, to get us through this tribulation, this judgment that the Lord Yahweh Shemashah is going to be bringing. Okay, let's go into the book of 2nd Ezra, because this, you've got to ponder on this, okay? You walk outside, you look at your neighbors, them, and you know in the back of your mind at some point, you're going to get in a conflict with them. At some point, they're going to come up to you slick, maybe trying to rob you, or they're going to use their kids to try to pacify you to get inside, or whatever the case is like that. People are going to use tears and every kind of tricks and trade in the book, and because America is very emotional, and people are going to be using those emotional tactics to try to weaken you. And we always have to remember, they're undeserving of mercy. They're undeserving of mercy, like a lot of brothers bring it out. Okay, we may have to take down a couple of people. You may have to get your hands bloody, and so that's a mental state that you have to walk around with. The fact that, yes, the Lord Yahweh Shemashah is going to protect us, but we may have to get our hands bloody. Okay, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, starting verse 14, because here's what's going to be taking place, and this is what we're going to be dealing with. It says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backwards, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. The Lord Yahweh Shemashah is pissed. He's going to be plaguing this earth. We're seeing it happening right now in real time. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Now imagine, the prophet, he saw some things to a point where he's like, well, how am I going to make it through this? How the hell am I going to make it through this? And the prophet that wrote this book may be amongst us, okay? For all I know, I could be Ezra. I don't know. You could be. It reads, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, which we seeing that right now. Those TikTok videos on Facebook, on YouTube, that's sorrows, that's mourning, okay? The beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when those evil shall come? Imagine you're Iran and you have the big bad United States telling you, hey, we can kill your leader, we know where he's at, we can bomb you, we can do whatever the hell we want to do to you. Speaking great words like that, that's threatening, man. Imagine, think of yourself as like, you look outside your window and there's a group of people standing out there with, machetes and guns and all kinds of stuff waiting for you to step outside, or they're just going to come inside. This is the kind of things that we're going to be going through. It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation, anguish, send the scourges for amendment. Before all these things, they should not return from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges, because they're always bringing out these histories of, bad times, the Depression, Civil War, this war, that war, this war. People have become numb to things that's going to happen, take place, and they think it's just another phase. We're just going to go through it. We're going to get over it. Not this time. Not this time. If you have any wisdom, not this time. Okay, if you're out of a job, you're out of a job. If you're homeless, chances are you're going to remain homeless. Okay, you're destituted. Okay, and this is about to get to the point where people are not going to be able. There's not going to be any help. at all. Okay, it says, behold, victuals should be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead should be cast out as dung. There should be no man to comfort them, for the earth should be wasted and the city should be cast down. Because when all hell breaks loose, and and as they saw in that clip, if gas prices are going up, the supply chain is broken, people are impatient, they're killing each other at the gas station because it's run out of gas, people are turning around and hosing out the gas out of other people's car. I mean, you can use your imagination and really go into it. You can see that people are going to be their worst enemies, that they're going to self-destruct, and this is what's going to be taking place, is that self-destructive behavior, okay, that lack of discipline, do as thou please, okay, and with no morale or integrity in place or instilled in anybody, we can see where this is going to go, okay? But there's a gleam of hope, for the hopefully elect, which is us. This is Revelation 3 and 10, because we know Esau is going to come with a solution. There's going to be a lot of fallout, okay, a lot of horrific things happening, in which the elites sitting in their bunkers down below. They're not going to be up on the surface dealing with this. They're going to have drones in the sky, helicopters in the sky, reporting the devastation across this earth, okay, as all of these places implode. And it doesn't matter where it is, it's going to implode, because everybody, every nation on this earth has drunk of the wine of great Babylon, America, which is that filth and that wickedness. Okay, everywhere on this earth is Americanized, everywhere. Okay, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So they're coming with that microchip and saying that this is going to be the solution, where you can get that food, okay, and everything will be good. You can live in this society. It says, behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take that crown. And you have these Christians and these other congregations that are coming up against the true men of the Lord, with false teachings, and they're trying to discourage the followers. They're trying to discourage and say, why y'all think only a certain amount of people is going to be saved by the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, and why only these people are chosen. And they always reflect back on the John 3:16, which talks about the Mashiach dying for the world, but they don't understand what the meaning of the world is. Okay, you have us, the 1/3 elect. That's a world. That's who the Mashiach gave his blood for. Okay, for the elect. Everybody else is shit the hell out of damn luck. So when you take a look at these people that are morbidly obese, laying in bed, and they think life is good and jolly, this is going to be a fun action movie that we are going to be living in, and we're going to be playable characters, so to speak. Okay, playable characters, okay, as we are right now prophesying, you have these non-playable characters, as the brothers from Great Millstone Solemn Assembly like to say. Okay, but there it is. This was rap. I was thinking about this because I'm looking at, wow, boy, it really is happening in real time, and there ain't a day that goes by that you're not hearing some exciting things, which is really bringing us closer to redemption, and getting this doggone Edomite, the so-called white man, closer to his demise, okay, removed from rulership. Okay, so Lord willing, the elect was edified, the gospel of all glory and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Kakadash, Shalom.